Welcome back. Another Sunday walk video. So, what's coming up this week? It'll be interesting. I can't even tell you, because over the weekend we got more breaking news, really good breaking news about tariffs, and then we got cold water poured on top of that good news immediately a day afterwards. So I don't know. So I'll talk about that. Also, there was a good rumor that came out about Bitcoin too, so that's good. But it really depends on how markets are going to react this week about tariffs and everything else. But overall, what's positive is Bitcoin's direction. Once again, we have climbed up into the low 80s. Yesterday, actually, we were above 85. Right now, we're slightly under, just a little bit. But Bitcoin is building that momentum again. We're building off of the low 70s once again. So that is good. The narrative is building. It does seem like that exhaustion is building up once again, and that's all great, right? But let's talk about the macro stuff, the tariff stuff, a little bit first, because there's major implications. Okay, so first of all, what came out? So it came out early yesterday that Trump decided that, you know, a lot of American companies, a lot of American tech companies in general, are going to be hurt quite a lot from the reciprocal tariffs placed on China, which is now at 145%, I believe, right? So it's 125 on top of the 20. So Apple being one of them. But it's not just Apple. Nvidia is another one. AMD is another one. And even other companies you don't even think about, just computer companies in general. Let's say like Dell, for example. Intel. Any computer product. Okay? I don't think people realize the components, like even like the screens, microprocessors, memory chips, the components inside of every electronic device, vast majority of that is being produced in China. So all these American companies, so the confusing thing for a lot of people is they think all the tariffs, 145% against China, it's only going to hurt China. Yes, it does hurt a lot of their companies, and yes, it hurts their economy if we're not buying as much, but it sure as hell is going to hurt a lot of American companies as well that has a lot of stuff being produced in China. So obviously all of our big tech companies, all of our electronic companies, they are going to get hurt a lot. So it seemed like Trump had a change of heart and came out yesterday and said, you know what? All smartphones, all computers, all basic electronics, okay? That includes like solar panels, TVs, computers, smartphones, and anything with a computer chip are exempt from the tariffs. The 125% tariff from China. So there's still a baseline 20% tariff that's still there, so that means things are still a little bit more expensive, but at least it's not 145%. Okay, that's just with China. But with everyone else, like from Japan, for example, a lot of it is from Japan too, there'll be that baseline 10%. So basically, all the retaliation tariffs that we have for electronic items are removed. So once I heard this, I had two thoughts. Number one, come Monday this week, man, tech is going to rally hard. I mentioned many times like why Apple isn't like tanking more. It kind of made sense. Maybe like insiders knew that Trump was going to do something. Apple's too important, too big to fail, so to speak. They were going to get bailed out in some way. And Tim Cook has been talking with Trump, and Apple did say they're already going to commit $500 billion to build a plant in America, but it's just they need a lot more than that and a lot more time, and no one wants to see iPhone double or triple in price. So maybe that's why. Anyways, so my first thought is, yeah, tech is going to rally hard. All tech companies, all computer companies, TV makers, everyone, even Tesla, all, you know, they're very heavily in solar. Obviously, a lot of the cars and components are from China too. So my thought is, yeah, this week they're going to rally hard. Another thought is, this shows that, well, or it's not just me, but a lot of people are thinking this. It's like Trump is caving. You know, he went hardcore with all the tariffs, especially with China. Kept doubling down. He kind of caved with the 90-day pause already, right? With all the countries, because of the bond situation. Our bond rates keep rising, and they're still rising now. That's not something as a country we want. We want those rates to come down, and the bond rates keep coming up because Japan and others are dumping our treasury bonds, and that's bad. That's bad when it comes time when we need to issue a lot more bonds, when we need to borrow more money. So he caved on that already, and now it seems like he's caving more, especially for the tech companies, right? So it's not a good look. But then, so that, you know, it's kind of my first thoughts. Then, well, actually that's my second thought. But then, I did say some cold water was thrown on top of it, because then Howard Lutnick, it was either yesterday night or this morning, then came out and said, you know what, don't be cheering too much. He's like, this is short-lived. The only reason why, like smartphones and computers and electronics are exempt from the retaliation tariffs is because there will be another semiconductor tariff bill or law or tariff that will be put into place within the next month or two. So yeah, so he's like throwing cold water on the whole thing, right? Now that's not a guaranteed thing. Obviously that, if that's going to become law, that probably has to be a bill that gets through Congress. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just something else that Trump could just throw out there. But he's trying to, like, I think he knows what's coming. I think he knows that if unchecked, it goes back to my first thought that tech is just going to rally hard. Markets are going to skyrocket. And I think he's trying to put that in check. So, I don't know. So he did come out with that, right? So because of this, I don't know how markets are going to react. Because he like definitely like tried to shut things down and say, hey, don't be cheering too much, because this is going to be short-lived. Within the next month or so, we're going to come out with another blanket tariff or law that will settle this, right? So I don't know. So supposedly China is coming to the table and saying, hey, US, let's stop the silliness. Let's work it out. All the back and forth retaliation stuff is not doing anyone good. And supposedly Trump is saying no. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Again, no one knows what's going on. It seems like no one could force, you know, an agreement. But again, all the things that are happening with the bond rates that are going up, it seems like that's a really concerning thing. That's what's causing Trump to cave and backtrack and pausing things. The consensus is that is what's happening. So if the bond rates continue to go up, and I've been checking over the weekend and last week, it's gone up more than 0.5% within a week. And if it continues to go up and up and up and up, I don't know what they're going to do. That's not something the government wants. If it goes above 5%, that's going to cost the nation like hundreds of billions of dollars more every year, just with interest payments alone on new bonds that are going to be issued. So all this work about cutting spending and decreasing the deficit and all the stuff that's happening with Doge and laying people off, right? Increasing efficiency, that kind of becomes a moot point. All of it becomes moot when we are now paying hundreds of billions of dollars more and trillions more over the next few years just with interest payments alone on new borrowed money, because the interest payments have gone up, because the rates have gone up. You see what I'm saying? That's why there's such a big concern about this. So I don't even know what they're going to do if it keeps on going up. Anyways, so I don't know what's going to happen this week. But I did say there was one good news that came out this weekend. Speculation. Supposedly, White House officials said that there is a chance that the United States may consider selling off gold to buy Bitcoin. Remember this whole thing about Bitcoin Reserve and how Trump said, hey, we'll find ways to buy Bitcoin without costing taxpayers money. One way to do that would be to just by selling what we have. We have crazy amount of gold. I don't know how much, hundreds of billions to trillions of gold. If we just sold off a little bit of that to buy Bitcoin, it would make a big difference. Now, I don't know why, if I'm being honest, why they would do that right now. Out of all the things that they're working on, all the things that they're trying to fix, this would probably be the least of their worries right now. But yeah, this came out. One thing I didn't mention last week was the deadline passed. There was supposed to be an audit among all the federal agencies of their crypto holdings. It was mandated that every agency kind of do an audit of like all the holdings they have confiscated or all the holdings they had before or bought or whatever, and they were supposed to report that. And there was no mention of that anywhere. So I get it, because of everything that's going on. It's the least of anyone's priorities right now. So I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it. So that's why I find it weird that they would even mention this right now, like that they would sell off gold reserves to buy Bitcoin. I would love to see it. All of us in Bitcoin would love to see it, but it's a strange thing to be talking about. Yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know. And of course, now we have a lot of people that are really, really worried about recession, and beyond that, maybe depression. It seems like everyone has now concluded that we're going to recession. Trump himself last week has said that, hey, we may go into recession as long as we don't go into depression. Not a big confidence booster by hearing that. Jamie Dimon says we're probably going to go in recession. All these people are saying it. Ray Dalio came out today saying that I'm afraid we're going to go into something much worse than recession. A lot of people talking about recession, this and that, this and that. I mean, last week we saw how great markets reacted with just a pause in tariffs, right? So I don't think we're that far along where we can't reverse course. We just got some inflation readings. Inflation readings for last month were great. It showed inflation actually going down. So if we weren't doing any of the tariff stuff, inflation readings were going down. In fact, May next month, we may have had that rate cut come up. I looked at it and it's like 20-something%. It could still happen, but Jerome Powell is not in a rush to cut because he wants more clarity from the tariffs. So like one day we have tariffs, another day we have a pause, another day we have a retaliation tariff, another day we have a pause or exemption on something. He's not going to cut anything when there's no clarity, right? Unless there's a huge market downturn, we are for certain in a recession or entering depression, he's not going to make any moves. So you could argue if we didn't go through all the tariff stuff right now, you know, May would have been looking good. But you know what? If not May, it's looking good for June. The percentage in June is quite high. So we may have to just wait one more month. And again, I know this is right now like short-term pain, long-term gain. So some of you guys may actually like this. Some of you guys may be arguing, well, I don't mind all the stuff going on right now, right? Someone needs to even out the trade. Someone needs to make America great again. Someone needs to get manufacturing back in the US. You know, it's time to make a change. I could see that side of the argument, right? I could see how there are people that see, you know what, sometimes you just got to rip off the Band-Aid, you know? Because you could talk about action all day long, but until you do it, nothing ever changes, right? So I could see that side of the argument. But there's just so much confusion and chaos. This is what I was talking about. We had a better execution, better plan, or better shared plan, or or shared vision, or something, you know? It would instill more confidence. But again, I've shared this before, maybe that's the plan. Maybe the plan is to have chaos and have everyone second guessing, right? I don't know. I hope Lutnick and Besant, they know what they're doing. I really hope they know what they're doing. Besant, you know, he made a lot of money shorting against the yen back in the day. So, you know, a lot of what he's doing maybe is betting against the Chinese yuan right now, but this global game is not as simple as it seems. He's not at a company anymore. He has to worry about the entire nation. So it's a little different game. And same thing with Lutnick. He's not just at the helm of Cantor Fitzgerald. He's at the helm of the United States of America. Again, a different game. A lot more people, 300 plus million people, rather than just 10,000 people. It's very different. But it's early. We'll see. Well, anyways, Bitcoin is still holding strong, so it's looking great. A lot of the crypto came up last week, including this weekend. A lot of the altcoins holding strong. Not only that, has crept up, so that's always positive. So we'll just have to see how this week is. We haven't really broken out, obviously. We've been staying within this range for quite some time, and that's okay. I've been making this argument. If you've been feeling down, you've been feeling out, just go look at where Bitcoin was, or look at where ETH was, or look at where Sol was back in the last recession. Okay? Go look at March of 2020 when we had that COVID pandemic drop. Look at where things were and compare it to now. It'll make you feel a lot better. Okay, things are definitely much stronger now. Despite our current weakness, things are a whole lot better. Whole lot better. And you don't even have to go back that far. Go back to 2024. Look at that 6, 7, 8 months of sideways movement from March all the way to September, when we went from 73,000 all the way down to 40, 50,000 before we jumped up, right? We got through that. That was last year. We're still way better than that even now, right? So remind yourself of those days and now, and realize it is still better, and it will get better again. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow, usual time, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye-bye.